Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another video on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian. I'm here at the Rock Island Auction House taking a look at the guns in their upcoming February 2015 regional auction. You know, the thing about an auction house is that you take whatever consigners give you, and often these guys get entire collections from people, living or deceased. And those collections usually have some really cool, fantastic guns, the sort of stuff that I personally would really like to own one of these days. But when you get the good stuff, you often get some junk too. And when we were looking through the catalog and the stacks of rifles, we found what is possibly the worst shotgun ever made, a Cobray Terminator. And you know what? These are just kind of unusual and interesting enough that I decided it'd be worth doing a video on. So, the Cobray 12-gauge Terminator. So Cobray is known for making pretty much a whole line of questionably legal and thoroughly impractical firearms. They made semi-auto Mac pistols that are pretty much worthless. They made the Street Sweeper, whose name was so egregious that it got declared a destructive device and put on the NFA registry. They made the Ladies' Home Companion, which is possibly the most ludicrous pistol ever designed. And they made this Terminator 12-gauge, which I guess was an attempt at a gun as egregious as the Street Sweeper, which didn't quite make it. Approximately 1,500 of these were made, 1,450 and change, over the course of about 4 years, from 1987 to 1990. There was a rumor out there. A lot of people will tell you that these manufacturers stopped because the ATF decided it was easily convertible into a machine gun because it was open bolt. As far as I can tell, that is not the truth. Production on these stopped simply because they didn't sell. Dealer cost on one of these things was about $90 when they were new, and even at that price, they just didn't move, and for good reason. We have a collapsing wireframe stock, like so. Pretty simple, thoroughly uncomfortable. The butt plate's not very good. It's a little too wide in the wrong places. The stock's really not comfortable at all. You'll notice there's a front sight. They didn't even bother with a rear sight. And it's a single shot 12-gauge. So when I bring the camera around, I think it's going to be better to show you how this works up close rather than from way out there where you are now. In machine gun parlance, an open bolt gun is one where the bolt is, when the gun's ready to fire, locked in an open position. When you pull the trigger, the bolt actually has to travel forward, pick up a cartridge, chamber it, and then fire. That's what an open bolt gun technically is, compared to a closed bolt, which is virtually everything that we're normally used to dealing with, where the cartridge is chambered and the bolt closed and locked when the gun's ready to fire. Now, this Cobray is technically more of an open bolt than anything else, although it's open bolt in a mechanism that's different from most. So as you can see, this whole chamber area is open, and the gun is right now ready to fire. In order to use it, what I would do is drop a single shotgun shell into the chamber. You can see then we have a bolt handle up here. I'm going to hold this so it doesn't make a big noise and slam. I then pull the trigger, and what happens is a big spring around the barrel pushes it backwards. You hear that click? That is this bar, which is spring-loaded, locking against the front of the receiver here. And there's a fixed firing pin on this breech block. So what happens is the bolt drops, locks, and immediately fires the shell. There's some rumor out there that these will automatically eject. That's not the case. They simply drop the barrel and fire the one round. In order to eject the round, what I do is grab my thumb around the charging handle here, and I depress this spring-loaded lock. It's a little bit tricky. There we go. We push this down, which releases it, and then push the barrel back forward. You see the barrel is now sticking out the front of the receiver. It's open here. As I push this out, we have an extractor right there that hooks the shell, pops it out, dump out the empty case. You can then load a new case and do the whole thing again. The safety on this gun is basically like that of an open bolt submachine gun. In order to render it safe, what I do is push the bolt handle forward and up into this locking notch in the receiver. So now, pulling the trigger does nothing because the bolt's locked in its forward position by that. We can take this apart, and at least to a minor degree, by removing this breech plug. I will say this gun is very sturdy. The materials here are they're all quite thick. The thing is heavier than you might expect. And despite the method of construction, I think they're actually totally safe. Well, it's a crude mechanism for a shotgun. This isn't actually going to come apart on you. It's not going to feel good to shoot. The recoil is going to be basically like a single shot shotgun, plus the force of the barrel whacking into your shoulder. There we go. So right there, you can see the fixed firing pin. That doesn't go anywhere. It's not spring-loaded. It's just an insert. So when a cartridge is pushed back onto that firing pin, it detonates and fires. There's the back of the receiver. And the one other thing we can show you is now when I pull this all the way back, because the breech plug is out, the barrel comes back farther than it normally would, and this comes out. We have two little springs here. So this is our bolt locking lever, I suppose you could say. This shelf right here, at this end, locks against the edge of the receiver, and that's what prevents the barrel from opening when the cartridge is firing. So, extremely simple. A little tricky to get back into place, though.
There's nothing that actually holds these two little springs in position. Nothing locks them into that lever.
There we go. Now, lock the barrel forward, and I can reinsert the breech block. You'll notice there's a sling swivel on the breech block. Right there. That's the only sling swivel on the gun. They gave you one sling swivel and one sight. One last mechanical feature we'll take a quick look at here is the stock latch. There are a pair of buttons, one on either side. We push those in. That unlocks the stock to extend, and then it locks in this position. Actually, pretty similar to an M3 grease gun submachine gun stock. There's your butt plate, simple stamped sheet metal. There you go. One Cobray Terminator. So as it turns out, in this current Rock Island auction, there are actually 3 of these guns available for sale. I have a link to the lot that this one is in below that you can take a look at if you'd like to add this to your own collection, hopefully for reference only and not for actual use. Go ahead and check out the catalog below. Honestly, they're kind of interesting. You know, they're so mechanically different from everything else out there that they're kind of cool. Although I'd be embarrassed to probably be seen with one in public. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Get to learn something cool here, dispel some of the myths about this gun, and thanks for watching.